I'm Andrew Perez. I'm a senior editor and reporter at The Lever, which is a reader-supported investigative news organization focused on accountability journalism. I'm honored to accept the Izzy Award tonight on behalf of The Lever. Thank you to the Park Center for Independent Media for recognizing our work and what we're trying really hard to build. I've worked as a journalist for the past 9 years now, mostly at smaller news outlets. Like most of my colleagues and brethren in media, I have been laid off a few times, but I've managed to stay mostly employed by developing a beat covering money and influence on politics and policy. I've been fortunate to work for organizations that allowed and encouraged me to report stories challenging power, corporate interests, and politicians from both political parties, which is our mission every day now at The Lever. I first got to work with The Lever's founder in 2015, Izzy Award winner David Sirota, several years ago, working at International Business Times. And I was the first person to join David in 2020 when he started writing the newsletter that would ultimately become The Lever. The Park Center has spotlighted The Lever's reporting on dark money influence on the Supreme Court. And in 2017, I was a reporter at a campaign finance watchdog group, and one of my colleagues let me in on the world of Leonard Leo, a longtime executive at the Federalist Society and his dark money network, which is known as the Judicial Crisis Network. Soon after that, I went to the Federalist Society's annual lawyers convention in Washington. And between sessions, I pressed one of Leo's deputies for their dark money group's new tax return. And she was so mad that she went home and she blocked me on Twitter. But they did have to give me the file. And what it showed really astounded me. It showed that Leo's operation had raised more than $30 million in 2016, including $28.5 million from one donor. And that year, his network, Leo's network, was leading a PR campaign supporting Senate Republicans who refused to hold a vote on Barack Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland. By this time now, Leo was serving as Donald Trump's judicial advisor, helping him select Supreme Court nominees, and his dark money network was helping boost those justices' confirmation campaigns with TV ads and donations, and lobbying the Supreme Court to issue conservative decisions and take up cases designed to smash precedents. He was working towards building a permanent conservative judiciary using a seemingly endless pool of secret money. And I wasn't alone in covering Leo's dark money operation, but it would be years before he really became a household name. And now people know Leonard Leo because he and his network have built the Supreme Court's conservative supermajority, a 6-3 supermajority, which last year overturned federal protections for abortion rights, invalidated gun control laws, and is gutting environmental regulations. They've accomplished all this while successfully hiding their donors. The public had no idea who was funding Leo's efforts for most of this time. But last year, our team at The Lever worked with ProPublica to expose the first known donor to Leo's network, and I'm pretty sure the largest too. A relatively unknown Chicago businessman, Barre Seid, effectively converted his entire electronics empire into a $1.6 billion donation to a trust run by Leonard Leo. Seid donated his company to the Marble Freedom Trust, led by Leo, which then sold the company for $1.6 billion. If Seid had sold the company himself, he would have owed $400 million in taxes, potentially. Instead, there were no taxes on the sale at all, creating, in effect, a giant public subsidy for a conservative advocacy and political project. There was no record that the trust even existed because trusts do not have to register publicly anywhere. And it was the largest dark money donation in U.S. history, at least the largest known one. We were able to expose one of the most consequential stories in American politics, in my view, because small adversarial news outlets like The Lever face stories about dark money and corruption in our political and judicial systems. I've been proud to find that there is an audience hungry for this coverage. And we've seen this at The Lever, where we've built a small subscriber-funded newsroom that's punching well above its weight. With support from readers, we are competing with some of the biggest news outlets in media, and we're doing so without compromising. We are reporting the news how we believe it should be covered, reporting the news our way. In giving us the Izzy Award, the Park Center for Independent Media wrote that no news outlet is as thorough and relentless as The Lever in exposing the corrupting influence of corporate power on government and both major parties. You know, that is far too kind of you guys to say that, but it is exactly what we are aspiring for every day. So thank you for reading and recognizing The Lever in our work, and thank you for letting me speak here today.